Welcome to Breaking the Huddle, a special playoff MVP edition. I'm your host, Daron Basmadjian. With me are Nareg, Rochdi, and Tony. So we've got, like I said, an all-playoff MVP panel. Since we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs, we're now a week away from the start. Wanted to get the perspective of a couple of guys who have been there and done that and have been the most valuable players on their team. So the first question for the opening huddle, as I'm starting to call it here on the last week of Breaking the Huddle, I finally got a segment name. So I want to talk about the stretch run. So not necessarily the playoffs, but the last 2-3 weeks before you get in there. You guys have all played on a lot of different teams, and you've all been involved in those types of situations where maybe you need to win a game, maybe you need to win two, or you need to get on a roll, or sometimes where you're set and basically you're taking it easy, trying new stuff out. So I want you to describe to me your thoughts on the stretch run. We'll start off with you, Nareg. What's your strategy going into a stretch run, for example, this season with the G-Men?
Well, I mean, most of the time we've really been towards the top of the standings, so it really hasn't been too meaningful a game. So it's kind of, we look at it as a tune-up game.
Yeah.
Every time that I've been, for example, with the Wolverines, I've been the bottom trying to get in. We've unfortunately not made it.
But what about, there was a team you joined that was near the bottom that did make it.
Mustangs.
That's the one, yeah. So
I don't know. That one was, we went on a roll there, so that was good. So that's one reason I think we did go far, because the last games that were all meaningful, so we played well. I think the fact that the games didn't mean anything in some of my other seasons were to our detriment. So with the Vipers, for example, with the 10-0, and we took it lightly and we lost it.
So and then you think it's better for the game to mean something near the end. All right.
Sure.
Rochdi, do you see it the same way, or do you take advantage of that possibility to tune up and figure out new schemes and things like that?
I agree about that, but the only difference is, like, honestly, every game means something. Even though, like, you play against the shittiest team, you don't want to be disrespected and lose the game. And if you're losing, then people will make fun of you. So it's not about the importance of the game, it's more about the importance of people not making fun of you and losing a game. And it's that.
It's all about pride, is what you're
talking about. Yeah, it's completely pride. That's really good.
All right, now Tony, obviously your last few years, I would say, have been more in that you've always been in that chase to make the playoffs. Obviously, you had that crazy game against the Express where it was a de facto playoff game to get into the playoffs about a year and a half ago, as your experience. So talk to us a bit about your experience in the stretch run.
Well, basically, what I try to do is just basically change up whatever we need as a game plan. Like, for instance, this year, we only won one game with one tie, and I feel I had to step in and try to get the team better. Even though our defense was not good, even at that, we needed to change some things up, talk more, maybe set up a meeting before the last 3 games start to make the playoff push, just like with Snookers right now. We've won 4 in a row. We were 2-3. Basically, our playoffs started 4 weeks ago, and we haven't stopped since. We made changes, improvements, and just try and make it to the playoffs.
All right. Well, now, speaking of now that we've spoken a little bit about the stretch run, let's get into the playoffs now. Obviously, all 3 of you guys have had significant impact, both in the regular season and the playoffs. You're all known as tops amongst your positions, given certain seasons and whatnot. What I want to know is what changes in you as a player when you reach the playoffs? Do you change your mindset at all? Do you approach the game a bit differently, or do you just go in with the same type of thing? Rochdi, we'll start with you.
I would say everything changed because, like, on a normal game, if you're losing at the beginning, you don't really care, and you know that at one point everything's going to come away and you should be okay. But in a playoff, as soon as you start losing or there's any like problem, then everything is emphasis. And from a final or even like a normal playoff game, you do feel the pressure a bit more.
Tony, do you see it the same way, or do you approach it as the same game in a regular season or playoff?
It depending. If you came from the bottom and you tried to make it into the playoffs, you're already in that playoff mode per se. But at the same time, once you're in the playoff game, you really need everybody on your team to step up. If you have only 1 or 2 playmakers, you need those other role players to make some plays as well. And it is more important because you lose, you're out. So you got to step up your game at the right moments.
Nareg, obviously this question I ask you specifically because with the G-Men we saw last spring season that you were a solid contributor in the regular season, but in the playoffs you took it to a level that personally I've never seen you at. What do you feel changed that brought you to that next level? Was it anything different?
Well, I mean, in the playoffs, I do. During the regular season, I try not to ask for the ball too much. But playoffs, I mean, I do demand the ball sometimes.
So you become a diva, is what you're telling me. Throw me the damn ball. Is that it? Major. Was that Tony? What was that?
Nothing.
Okay.
He did not say major diva. That's not what he
Okay,
said.
no.
I did not say that.
No, you did not say
No,
major
but for
diva.
sure it's more intense, so it's much easier to get up for the game. Sometimes, I mean, late Sunday night, sometimes it takes us a while, especially the G-Man noticed it this year. At the beginning, we're really not into the game, but the playoffs right away, right from the get-go, you're into the game, so just that, the intensity level's there. No, for the playoffs, for sure, like, I try to get more involved. Like Rochdi said, it's more important that you care more if you lose, so that's why I just get more involved in the game.
Well, leading into that, getting more involved, the concept of that, does your role change at all as a player? For example, you during the regular season, some guys are all about the stats. When they reach the playoffs, they might take a back seat, or vice versa. Like Nareg said, you might in the regular season you might try and let things go. Playoffs, you might jump in and try and lead. So, Tony, talk to us. Maybe using your experience with the Wolverines, for example, when you guys won that championship in Division 2, did your role change at all from regular season to playoffs?
Yeah, like Tarek said, you want your playmakers to step up. It is what it is. At the same time, what was I gonna say?
Well, just based on your team, for example, that season.
You want to play your best. You got to play your best. You got to step up. You're thinking about, but the stats come with a great game. So that's why you're not thinking about the stats. You're really thinking about that W, no matter what it takes. If I have to throw to, let's say, Nareg 10 times in this game, 20 times in this game, because he's the option and the matchup is there, you're going to take advantage of that. And clearly I saw that's what happened with the G-Men, and that's what we tried to do when Gino was with us for that championship run. He tried to take advantage of their weaknesses, and at the same time we played real solid defense. So you need to the defense needs to step up their game at the same time, because offense in the flag, it's such an offensive game that one stop could change everything, and I would say defense and playmakers stepping up.
You put more emphasis on the defense for you in
defense and your playmakers making plays. Yeah. Like I said before, role players got to step up.
Okay.
It's really a team effort.
Nareg, you alluded to it a little bit, but so did you find that your role changed any in your 2 championship runs that you've had, both with the Mustangs and with the G-Men? Did you find that your role changed at all when you reached the playoffs, or was it basically the same thing and you were just being counted on a little bit more?
Well, basically, it's the same thing, but just instead of, I don't know, being thrown to 5 times, being thrown to 10 times a game, and more, especially in situations I would actually go to the huddle. Like in our team now, Paul calls the plays. I don't really step in, but certain times, even though it's not really in playoffs, if it's a 4th down, I will ask for it. In the playoffs, I do that more on a regular basis, as opposed to regular season. I'll just take a back seat. Okay. And that's just basically the same role, just more emphasis on it.
All right, well, Rochdi, I know that your answer is that your role changes, because I know that for a fact there was one championship season with the Kings where you defensive coordinated them to a championship, basically, which is a role we're not used to seeing you in. We always think of you as that wide receiver putting up all those stats. So talk to me a bit about that, particularly that season, but in general, if you feel your role changes.
Yeah, but that one season I was injured, so I had nothing else to do.
Yeah, nothing else to offer. But I'm saying it's interesting to have seen you in that defensive.
That's one of the major reasons why Ryan brought me in the team, and that was fun because one of the great things about that Kings team is, like, athletically there were some good athletes, but everybody was super smart. So if you tell them one thing once, they would actually understand and do it like right away. And that's not something that I will always get in my team. Normally you always got like a couple of guys that would rather like free lines left and right, but with them, like, as soon as I was telling something, they were doing it, so that makes you feel better, and you're like, okay, then I can actually change and do like change on the fly, and they will actually understand it.
What I'd like to know is, obviously we make a whole spectacle of the finals here, and it's been different levels based on the different years you guys have won playoff MVP, so it's interesting to see where it changed. Now, Tony, obviously when you won the championship, it wasn't really much. There
Ages ago, yeah.
you guys had there were fans there, not too many, I don't think, but
actually there was quite a.
Was there?
There was a lot of people.
I'm trying. For the Trojans too, they had a.
Yeah, the Trojans too. They had fans.
So there was some fan presence, and there was a young debonair writer who was chronicling the game. I don't know. If you've heard of him, I don't know. I heard he retired though, but he got a good severance package. Now, talk to me about that experience, kind of going into that finals. Obviously I had the little, seeing the recap and everything. What does the experience change when it's the final game, when you know you have to elevate your game to a whole nother level?
Well, yeah, and at that time the Trojans were favored to win that game. So it takes a whole lot. Takes a whole lot of game planning. We knew who their top players were, and we adjusted to them. As well as the rusher, we knew he was really good, so that's why I went at times quarterback. Even though it wasn't as successful, it still kept a rusher honest. And I find, though, from the time I went with the Wolverines and from the time I went with the Kings, it is the competition level has stepped up. That's why when you talk about the 06 winter, to me it's like the past is like the 76-81 Raiders. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to win now, and honestly, it is different competition. It's just much better. The league has improved so much.
Okay. Nareg, obviously you won it in two completely different spots. You won it once when it was just the articles and once when there was the whole filming and media thing. Which one did you prefer? Putting aside the championship itself, do you find it's interesting to have the whole media aspect, or do you kind of wish just leave me alone, let me enjoy my game? I've always been curious about asking this question.
Well, being in the game, once you're in the game, before the game, I mean, it's good that there's all the attention about it, but once you're in the game, you completely forget that there's a camera. It's fun after the game, though, especially if you win, to be able to watch it again with the team, which we did, so it was, that's the fun aspect to it. So, yeah, for sure I'd prefer that, especially if you're the winning team. Watching yourself lose, not as fun.
Not as fun, yeah. I think a lot of guys who lose probably don't watch it.
It depends on the situation. It depends on the outcome of the game, but for sure, since I've been on the good side of it, for sure I prefer the spectacle.
All right, Rochdi, now you've been in a few finals, and you had particularly the one where you did the playoff MVP. I remember it was the first one where we put together the whole video package, and there was the instant replay of Rochdi doing his spin moves. On that one. It was so. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on the whole that whole experience. Just based both. I mean, I asked Tony more about the experience of playing in a finals. I asked Nareg more about the media, but put them both together.
I would say like to see it on film was amazing, and after I really did appreciate it, but that's the cool thing about our Kings team. It's even in the huddles, we were making fun, we were making jokes. Even in the finals when it was important, we were still like just playing around, and each and every time somebody was doing something good, everybody was cheering, and I hope to see that on the film. So yes, it was business, but we actually appreciate the moment of, okay, we're playing a game just for the fun of it, and there's some people filming, people watching us. Let's enjoy the moment. And that was really, really fun.
All right. This is the last question before we head to the 2-minute drill, which is a bit more quick answers. What I want to know, it's hard to describe this one, so I'll give you guys a pass if you have time. What is clutch? What is it? How you guys have all been described as clutch. Obviously, you won playoff MVP. What is it? How do you do it?
I want to give a shout out to my captain. Clutch is Paul Kamel. He makes a play. I don't know how he does it. Especially on his bad knees, but I don't want him to hear you say that, but he always makes a play. I don't know how he does it. I wish I had that aspect because he takes it to another level, especially last year in the finals. Defense, for some reason, although we have athletes, it's never our strong suit, but like Tony said, it's an offensive league. If you get one stop with the offense that we have, it's almost it's really the nail in the coffin, and he picked Lever off twice in the final last year, and it was a big play. So.
All right, Rochdi, you
have to ask Paul that question.
Yeah, I will. I'll get him back. We tried to get him quite a few times. All right, Paul's playing hard to get. I'll get him. Rochdi, what is clutch?
Clutch to me is a little bit like being in a zone where you actually know what's going to happen before it happens, and you can see it before it even happens. And if you're able to make the play, and you're on top of that, you felt it before, to me, that's the definition of clutch.
Tony, same question. What is clutch?
Basically, clutch is that guy, even though he's having a bad game, first half, second half, he steps up, last 5 minutes, 5 plays, whatever you want to call it, makes the play happen for you, makes that catch, even though he's had a bad game the whole day. And this week we had that clutch player, Dre John. He dropped a few passes, he knows it if he watches this, but he made the most important catch at the end, and that was clutch. A very tough catch. That's a clutch player. You have a bad game, still when it comes to the last drive and you got to score, that player or that QB or that receiver is going to make the play for you.
So it's the ability
basically when you make a play when you have to.
And it's being able to put aside the little mistakes. And
little mistakes you did the whole game, but when it's time, you're down by 4, you got to score the touchdown. You get it done. That's clutch.
All right, well on that, we'll head over to the 2-minute drill, so we'll be right back with that, but that's it for the opening huddle. All right, back with the 2-minute drill. So this is where I ask you guys quick questions and I want quick answers. So you don't have too much time to think about it. Well, unless you're the second or third person answering. But still, quick answers here ideally. So I want to know, obviously you guys brought up the clutch factor a lot, but I want, aside from yourselves, because we're all a little egotistical in this league, but what is the best clutch performance you've ever seen in this league, Nareg?
I think I just answered that in the segment before.
Okay.
Hate to repeat myself, but Paul.
All right, not Daron Basmadjian with the Mustangs?
A close second.
Close second. All right, I'll take it. Rochdi, best clutch performance you've ever seen, excluding yourself. Keep in mind that the guy sitting next to you had 3 touchdowns in the finals where you won MVP. Just putting that out.
But he had still 150 yards.
Right, whatever. I'm just saying.
Oh, I appreciate it. I wanted to give you credit and say that you were the clutch player because one game we were missing a player and you actually stepped up and you play on my team and you played very well on that game.
Yeah, what happened in the end zone?
There was a lot of pressure. I understand that. But then again, you did step up and you show up and you did not want to play, and we did appreciate that very much. And we tried to recruit you again, and you refused each and every time after that.
I went out on a losing note. I'd like to say a winning note, but we lost. It's all good.
Yeah.
I was wearing Mark Champagne's jersey, so hopefully some people got confused for my blazing speed. But seriously, if you have an actual answer?
I don't want to say.
I'll take it. I will.
Okay, but the thing is, if I say Carmen, the Z is already very big, so it's going to get even more inflated. But Carmen is pretty much the definition of clutch. Like each and every time he's playing in the finals, he's winning all the time.
Hasn't lost a single one yet.
So that's pretty good.
All right. Tony, best clutch performance.
That's what I was about to say. But the combination of Carmine and Rochdi in that game was pretty sick.
It was
sick.
entertaining to watch. Yeah.
I like it.
See, you guys are being nice. This is not what I want. I want fights. That's it. All right. So, now you guys all spoke about somebody on your team. I'd like to go a little bit further. No throwing chairs yet. All right. We'll still have another segment after. But you guys all spoke about somebody on your team. Is there any performance you've observed, either someone against you who ended up losing, or just other games that you've been present at, whether it was before your finals, after your finals, or anything like that, a different type of clutch performance that you've seen, not one in your game per se, or on your team? Rochdi, let's start with you.
It was not in the final, it was in the semis.
Sure.
It was Andrzej Zasevich. I was really, really, really impressed by his rushing against Kevin in the semis last year.
Against Montreal's finest.
By himself, he shut down Kevin and he completely disrupted him. And at one point, like, that was the first time ever that I saw like Kevin searching for answers and talking to other people for like input. That was really impressive.
Did he talk to Mo Khan for input?
No, I'm not sure about it. We should talk with him. Can we bring him on the set or no?
Kevin, if only I had known before I had my one-on-one interview. Breaking the Huddle officially interviews the Hall of Fame members. Look for that. Tony, best one you've seen that's not necessarily on your team?
I'm trying to remember the teams, but I know it was Jamal Pierre, the wide receiver, at some point, and he was calling something in front of Marc Champagny. Champagny, that's his last name. And he's saying something to throw it there, whatever, he's open. He runs, Marc Champagny picks it off, pulls the little finger out.
Oh no, it wasn't Mark. It was Matt Norzel. In the finals, in the spring finals, and now you tore open Rochdi's heart again. He had forgotten about that game. The play he's talking about is
intense,
yeah. Jamal was I think was yelling mismatch, based on the fact that Matt Norzel was there, and then Norzel picked sixth and flipped the proverbial bird on the way down the sideline.
So that was pretty good for the guy to call him out and for him to get back at him. That was good to see.
It was entertaining, to say the least.
Next question?
Next question? All right. Nareg.
Roger's upset.
See, you guys were just so nice to each other, and it's all over. So quick.
Open that door.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to say I don't really remember all the other finals all that distinctly. The only one I remember is Mr. Tony Tabet's 3 touchdowns on the exact same play 3 times. It was like out every single time, caught the exact same way. So I'll go with that one since that's the only one I really remember like distinctly.
All right. What? Okay, that's it. I don't get it. You guys are friends, then you're enemies. It's so confusing, hard to keep up. You could tell
No,
there's
me and
200
Nareg, we're not
on the
enemies.
panel.
It's okay.
Never.
All right, never. What if Ada was sitting in the middle?
Never.
Okay, yeah, exactly. All right, now here's another question I have. To a certain extent, actually, a lot of you guys have all been affected in one way or another. Right now, it's the playoffs MVP that we award. There's a lot of movement to move towards just finals MVP. Do you guys have any preferences? Now, Nareg, you won it with the G-Men because of this, and you lost it with with the Mustangs for the other reason. So do you have a preference? Do you think it should be finals MVP, that really the fact that you played the biggest in the biggest game should be awarded more, or do you think it's all throughout the playoffs?
I mean, since we're really like the NFL and now we treat our players, because we got all this the press conferences and articles.
And we'll never lock out our players either.
I don't think you never know.
Not sure. Talk to Campana.
Seriously. But no, just because that it makes more sense just to follow the NFL in that step as well, in that aspect as well. Finals MVP, it's easier to track. It is the biggest game, so it should have more weight. So it does make more sense.
So you're basically saying Rob Campana made a bad choice.
Yes.
Finally! All right, Rochdi.
I'm going to suck up to Robert and say that playoff MVP is better than just the final, because it's actually an effort throughout the whole playoff, and you actually bring your team to the final, and probably you play decent also in the final. So I would say it's the whole thing.
All right, and Tony?
Me too, I would say playoff because it's the race. That's important, the playoff race. But at the same time, if that guy played great the whole playoffs but didn't play necessarily that good in the finals,
Which does happen often.
yeah, you should maybe put it to the second guy that you thought played well in the playoff race and give it to him if he played good.
But an easy solution would be to ask Robert to pay for 2 trophies. So one for the final and one for the playoff. That would be good.
All right, we might have to lose a ref or something like that. And money's got to come from somewhere, and it ain't coming from my salary. All right, well, that's it for the 2-minute drill. We're going to be right back with COMMISH for a day. Very interested to hear your thoughts on this. And also personal individual questions to each of our former playoff MVPs. All right, back now for the final segment. So we have COMMISH for a day, where I offer you guys the title of Robert Campana for a day. Obviously, those who don't know, Robert Campana is the president of this league, and he doesn't like to be mentioned, but Robert Campana. So I'm going to give you the opportunity, if you guys had to change something in this league, or add something, or whatever you'd like to do, what you've been talking about, or you've always been thinking about having changed, this is your chance to make your plea, and maybe somebody might be listening. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So Nareg, we'll start with you. If you were COMMISH for a day, what would you do?
Well, I just came up with this on a little break that we had there, and Raj won't like it, and Paul up here won't like it either. No more spinning.
Wow.
Get that out of the league. That's it. That's it.
Okay, tell me why.
It's too hard to get the flag off him, because it's parallel to the ground when he's spinning. I mean, if I had Alexander Campus's tackling skills, maybe, but no. I'd rather have no spin. Makes it easier on me.
All right, no spinning. I like it.
Look bad when I'm trying to tackle.
I'm just going to have to retire then.
What's Rochdi going to do now? All right, Rochdi, what's...
I had a chance to discuss with the president of the league. What's his name again?
Robert Campana?
Yes, that's with that guy. And I asked him if it's possible to have a section on the website for people to upload videos. Because a lot of people are filming different games, and like, for example, the Dirty Birds, and they're doing like a very good job at it. So because just to recognize the time that they're putting on it, if they could put that on the website, people would actually pretty much appreciate that, I think.
It's an interesting concept there. The only problem is a lot of the guys in this league can be degenerates as well. So you don't know what kind of videos we might get by the end of it. We'd have to control it strictly. We'll see. Tony, COMMISH for a day, what would you do?
Basically, it's more with the rusher snapper, and where we could place the ref to make it a bit better on that front. First of all, well, it's kind of 2-in-1, I would say. The rusher to be in place as soon as the snapper goes down, but sometimes it's not possible because the offense lines up in a quick, right on the line, right away, no huddle, and we're running around, and boom, we get a flag because our rusher is trying to set up. So basically, try to take that out. If the rusher, once the ball is down, the rusher should be set. They should take that off, because in case, he wants to move before the snap, as long as he's 1 yard from each side of the bag, it's good. And that's why I was thinking maybe the refs could be placed maybe diagonally, quarterback level, a bit back, so he could see the rusher where he's placed, and the snapper and his route if he's interfering with the rusher.
It's something we hear about a lot in this league. Obviously, it's kind of the most, where all the friction happens is down that center lane. We looked at it a lot there. There's no good answers, but they're good points, obviously. Let me tell you, this is something we discuss all the time, and it never ends.
Yeah,
I wish there was a way that the ball could just be snapped automatically, no snapper, just.
But you two have some crazy hand movement. Like, you two are going like this, snapping.
Man.
It's been interesting. It's impressive. Interesting.
Exactly, all right.
Thank you.
All right,
So-
final segment. It's personal, individual questions. I will not be asking Rochdi a personal, individual question because he has a whole Hall of Fame interview that will be done as well. So there's going to be enough questions, and I'm sure people are sick of hearing Rochdi talk already, especially after that little comment about hand gestures. All right. Now we'll start off with Tony. Now, Tony, in 2006, the winter season, the Wolverines won the D2 championship, and that was obviously an excellent team, known mostly for their defense. Since then, I don't think you ever had a season where most of those guys came back. A lot of your guys on that team, a lot of the talented guys kind of disappeared, couldn't come back for XYZ reasons. Where do you feel that the Wolverines franchise would be now if you were able to keep all the guys from that team?
I think we could have gotten better records throughout the year, but we still keep some of the same core guys.
Yeah.
The only problem this year was there was a little situation where the team wasn't going to happen, and then it did happen. And until we gelled together, we had a certain QB that we wanted, but he wasn't really ready for the flag yet. He needed more practice, so he left. Unfortunately, he would have been a great quarterback in this league, I think, personally. But if we kept those guys, we would have still been competitive, I'd say. Me and John would have shared snaps, I guess. I don't know. But it's just the way it happens. I don't know if we'd win the championship or not. I can't say. But we would have been more competitive during the seasons. But we still got replaced them with Nareg, guys like Nareg. Ara is pretty good, even though he talks a lot. He still catches the ball 95% of the time. So, we replaced some good players. We had good competitive teams.
The follow-up question, do you regret moving up? Because you guys obviously made the jump from D2 to D1, and you hung in there up until this season. Do you regret having moved up and stayed there that long?
No, the only thing I regret is always trying to get a new quarterback in to be our franchise quarterback, and they always end up leaving because they think it's a tackle football game where they have offensive linemen blocking for them and they could run between. Mm-hmm. But this is a rusher running straight up at you. You got to get the ball out quick. And they don't realize that, and I always end up having to go quarterback. And that's where we always have our troubles. I always have to step in and play quarterback because the other guys, they're just not used to the flag game yet. Yeah. And they needed maybe to start down. Maybe when I had the quarterback, should have stayed in the lower conference. But we thought we had a good enough team with that certain quarterback that we would bring in to move up.
All right. Nareg, that was a serious question. It's the last one.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to throw some names at you here.
Yes.
Tony Tabet, Chris Ashkarian, Arak Mekjan, Michael Manukian, Daron Basmadjian.
I wonder what's the common...
Stephen Osman.
Yes.
What do these guys have in common?
Well, most of them are 100% Armenian.
Okay.
Stephen Osman being the one exception.
Okay, I thought you were going to say me.
Fan Osman.
Right, yes,
for the
sorry.
record. But yeah, they're all Armenian.
So what I want to know is, in your opinion, who is the greatest Armenian player in Flag Plus history? Two-part question, that's one. And two is, do you think an all-Armenian team would win a World Cup of Flag Plus football?
Well, I'm going to answer your second question first. Oddly enough, there's no... Well, Tony's a QB. He plays well QB, but it's not his natural position. He's a stud receiver, but we don't have any quarterbacks, so that's where we'd get stuck. But honestly, just because of, although Stefan doesn't speak fully Armenian fluent there, but
he's close enough. We'll take him.
Just the fact that we have him calling audibles on the line, I think because of that alone, we could give any team a run for their money.
All right, Team Armenia coming at you next year.
And the best Armenian
is... Go ahead, say yourself. It's fine.
I'm excluded.
Rochdi?
Well, we're recruiting Rochdi to be Armenian.
Benabdelkader, it's close to Armenian, no?
It's close. By default, I'm just going to give it to Stefan Osman. To be fair to all the other 100% Armenians.
Another playoff MVP while we're at it. 3 playoff MVPs. Four, Mike. So that's...
Yeah.
If you're keeping count, that might be the race with the... Not the race, whatever.
Yeah.
With the most... the nationality. The nationality with the most playoff MVPs.
I think Mokan has a little Armenian in him too, doesn't he?
He's not playoff MVP though.
Soon, it's coming.
All right, Rochdi. So, like I said, no individual question for you, but you are a Flag Plus Football Hall of Famer, and you are surrounded by 2 guys who are probably on the short list for Flag Plus Football Hall of Fame. So, what I want to know is, who do you think is the next person from either Nareg or Tony to get in? And why do you think that the guy who's not going to get in first shouldn't get in first?
Wow.
Wow, what an ass, eh?
Nice move, nice move.
You asked for it.
You wanted it.
I never asked for any question, but that's really putting me on the spot. That's
It
impressive.
is.
I would say it's probably you being the Hall of Fame broadcaster. And you are the one that was the best at breaking the huddle and saying some stupid stuff, but still being credible at it. And it's all
That's what
about.
we strive for at Fly Plus Football.
But it's all about your look. Like as soon as you're doing it, you give like that crazy serious look.
Okay.
I have to say you're very impressive.
Thank you. That is a great answer. And you totally sidestepped these two guys.
I did so very efficiently.
Yes.
Appreciate.
Good job.
Thank. I just spin
And
it.
that's why he's a Hall of Famer. So that's it from us for the Breaking the Huddle. Now I'm going to give Tony a minute here because he asked to come on to the show a couple weeks ago. He wanted to make a little statement following a certain event. So I'm going to give you that chance here, and then we'll close after that.
No, I just wanted to apologize for the chaos that we had against G-Men there. That night, that was pretty intense. A lot of trash talking going back and forth in that game. And that's it. I'd just like to apologize on behalf of a certain player as well. He was truly sorry about the situation. He was really embarrassed, and from him too, he'd like to apologize. He'll remain nameless for now.
Right, well,
But-
even then, stay classy, Wolverines. That's
Well, for our
classy.
team too,
Yeah.
it's not in my habit. I try to be quiet, but even that game I was talking too much smack too, so that kind of contributed to it. So I'll back up Tony here.
Your former team, Nareg.
I know.
You ditched them.
See, that's what created some of the animosity there, the extra tension there, you know, with the. That was
Yeah.
out of line.
All right. Well, anyways, now we're gonna. I always leave a chance for anybody who wants to talk smack. You know, you guys are obviously the season's almost over. If you want to talk smack about anyone, any team, if you want to build up your own team, if you have any final words, this is your last chance to be on camera, unless you make the finals, and then maybe we'll see you again. But for now, this is your last chance. So anybody, take the floor. Nareg, you got final words.
Well, I just want to play Rough Riders again. That's it. That's all.
All right.
No predictions. Just want to play them again.
All right.
Just want to say that I don't know which team we're playing next week, but it's probably going to be an easy game, so I cannot really tell you what's going to happen.
He knows
as
who's
for the playoff, I will probably going to be facing the Mercenaries in the semis, so we're not going to have a chance to play against the G-Men, so I'm kind of disappointed. But if they're lucky, and I have to trash talk both of you guys at the same time. I was nice before, I have to trash talk a bit. But yeah, two interesting games coming up.
All right. And Tony.
Nareg said before that I'm not a good QB. I don't know what's up with that. I've been improving, and Rough Riders, get ready. Your defense better be ready. Aren't
It's
you
your
with
team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Forget it.
Interesting.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm throwing your way.
Please.
A lot.
I'll be on the bench.
A lot. Oh
That's
my
the
God. A lot.
closest
You
thing
guys
you
are
can throw.
undefeated? They're undefeated?
No, we're not.
They might lose a second game this week. And as for Briscoe High, you don't play for them, but get ready for us.
No, I lost against them.
Best division in the D3.
All right, and while we're at it, you said you're going to throw Rochdi's way. Is there any, perhaps, piece of furniture you'd like to throw his way?
I thought we'd have those metal chairs, those WWE chairs, but I guess this sofa will do.
All right.
There's like a triple.
You'll see that in the credits.
Well, yeah, exactly. Stay tuned for the credits, and we'll see what happens. There's never been a better reason to watch all the way through. So that's it from us here at Breaking the Huddle. We will see you here next. The next episode you'll see will probably be the Hall of Fame interviews one-on-one with Kevin Wyeth, Carmen Police, Keyshawn Thompson, Patrick Chenard, and Rochdi Benabdelkader. So look out for that. And still don't have a good sign-off line.
Keep fit and have fun.
Keep fit and have fun. All right, we'll go with that one.
That's horrible.
Keep fit and have fun?
Yeah.
Body break. Huh?
Like try to do like some dancing move at the end.
Stay alert, stay safe.
Clap your hand and
Body
the
break.
light shut down.
Oh yeah.